Wow. Okay, so have you seen this Bitcoin thing today?
It's been pretty wild, right?
It's insane. Like up $1,500 just like that. Everyone's suddenly talking about it hitting 65K. We got to dive into this.
Yeah, for sure. We got to unpack this.
So we're talking Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Obviously, we found some interesting stuff on Crypto Market News on YouTube about this.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a deep dive. So, Bitcoin.
Up huge.
Huge. Yeah, and, it's always been volatile, but this is...
What different?
It feels different. I think it's got everyone's attention for a reason.
Yeah, and, one of the big things that's got everyone's attention is MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor. They're talking about hitting $1 trillion valuation.
Trillion with a T.
Trillion with a T. And their strategy, Bitcoin.
All the Bitcoin. Man.
All the Bitcoin. Like, he's basically saying that, this is the strategy. We're just going to buy Bitcoin until,
Well, and he's been pretty upfront about this for a while now.
Yeah.
It's not just buying Bitcoin. It's that he's seeing it as becoming the dominant store of value. It's like digital gold.
Right.
And that as institutions, individuals kind of lose faith in the traditional way of doing things, all that's going to flow into Bitcoin, which is going to drive the price up.
It's a big bet.
Huge bet. I mean, but if he's right, you see the potential payoff.
$1 trillion.
Yeah.
It's a lot of payoff. So Saylor's going all in. Is he the only one, or are there other people out there that are kind of, making this World War Bitcoin level bet?
Well, that's actually a great point because Max Keiser, crypto veteran, he calls it World War Bitcoin.
He does.
He does. And he says that you've got nations, these big players, all scrambling to kind of hoard Bitcoin as a hedge against a global financial meltdown.
Okay, World War Bitcoin. That seems kind of dramatic. I mean, is there evidence for this, or is this just hype?
Well, there are definitely signs. I mean, look at the institutional investment. You got these big players, the hedge funds, endowments. They're putting serious money into this.
Yeah.
And that legitimizes it in a lot of people's eyes.
And, even governments are kind of quietly accumulating Bitcoin. So full-blown war, maybe, maybe not. But there's definitely a competition for it that's heating up.
Totally. And, I mean, like any gold rush, there's always people trying to take advantage, right?
Always.
Like, did you see that FBI thing? They literally created a fake AI crypto to catch scammers.
I did. I mean, it really highlights, the darker side of this whole thing, because as money flows in, governments are going to pay attention.
Oh.
And investor awareness is paramount, right? Like separating the legitimate projects from the scams.
Yeah, and there are real-world consequences because, I mean, remember that Bitfinex hack a while back? Heather Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
Facing 18 months potentially for laundering billions in Bitcoin.
Billions. Yeah. And this is the thing, right? These aren't just virtual crimes anymore.
No.
There are real-world implications, and it's a stark reminder that security, responsible behavior in this space, it's critical.
It's huge. It's huge. So, okay, we've got big players, we've got governments taking notice, we've got the criminals. It kind of feels like we're at this tipping point with Bitcoin, right?
Oh, boy.
And then on top of all this, you've got these analysts coming out saying Bitcoin could hit $100,000 soon. $135,000.
Yeah. I mean, and there are a few reasons, right? The bullish case is compelling. Institutional adoption is growing. Traditional markets are kind of shaky right now. And there's this sense that Bitcoin is becoming more and more detached from that traditional financial system.
Right.
And even if you look at like the technical analysis, charts, patterns, all that stuff, suggests a potential breakout to 81K in the near term with some long-term targets, like you said, as high as $124,000.
It's wild. And as if things weren't crazy enough, we have an election coming up.
Right.
Here in the U.S. How's that going to, impact everything?
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of experts think Bitcoin's kind of becoming immune to this. Like, regardless of who's in office, it seems like the prediction is a steady climb toward that 100K mark.
Wow. Okay, so just to recap here, Bitcoin is surging. Wild predictions, institutions are jumping in, governments are taking notice. It's like the Wild West out there, right?
It is. It's a fascinating time to be following it.
Totally.
It's at a crossroads, and which path it takes is going to have major implications for the future of finance, I think.
So what does it all mean for you? Are you ready for a world where Bitcoin is, potentially a much bigger deal than it is now? Is it time to jump in, learn more, do your own research? Or is this a bubble that's about to burst? Hopefully this deep dive has given you all the information. Now it's up to you to make the call. See you next time.
See you next time.